Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be going through a post-World War II and Korean War photo album. I'm very excited to go through this, so let's get started. The first thing I saw when I found this album on the first page was this blood sheet, spelled C-H-I-T. And if you're not familiar with what this is, the pilot of a plane in the Korean War in this situation would have had one of these in his jacket, or I assume in his pocket, somewhere in his personal belongings. And if he was shot down, he would give this to a Japanese or Korean man. And it roughly says, if you protect this man, you will be rewarded by the U.S. government. Were those people rewarded? I would doubt it, but it's very hard to say. And in the first few pages, there is close family. I'm assuming this is his wife, and his name is Mr. Bosserman. And there's a lot of pictures of his dog. Very rarely do we get to see the whole name to the owner of this album. And if you're interested, you can find this album in our store. Link will be in the description. Unfortunately, a lot of these pictures in the very front of the album here are real picture postcards that you would have been able to buy at a souvenir stand. There's also some snapshot souvenirs as well, we'll see in the next few pages. But all of these pictures are real picture postcards, but not authentic real pictures. These are all souvenir pictures that this guy probably bought for 5 cents or so at a souvenir stand while he was in Hawaii. Same things apply for these pictures. These are all snapshots that he got at a souvenir stand of the local area of Hawaii. If you look very closely, you can tell that these are pictures of pictures, and you can tell that these are not snapshots. And I've had a photo album from Hawaii in the past, and it ironically had some of the exact same pictures. These are very cool. These are arcade snapshot pictures. And these Navy men would have picked a woman, or the woman would have picked them, and they would have gotten in the photo booth and took a picture. I believe they had a solid 2 seconds to strike a pose, or they would have lost it, and it'd have been a blurry picture, and it'd have been a waste of money. Normally, these pictures are worth anywhere from $5 to $15 and up, depending on what's in the picture. Now we finally get to see some real snapshots. If I'm not mistaken, this is the back of the YMCA, and this is a picture of the KPOA radio station, and it looks like they're watching some kind of a football game. And in some of the pictures, it looks like they're probably going to have a public event or a USO show. And we even got a few pictures of some naval ships. This one's got a 115 number, and this one even has a little tent on the ground outside of the hangar. Now, this is really cool. This is the Patrol Squadron 25, and now that is a real unit, VP-25, a maritime patrol squadron operating in the Pacific from World War II up into the Korean War, and that's exactly where we are right now. And here's some other pictures of him driving around some little track tanks, probably to pull the airplanes around. Now, I'm not 100% on this, but I believe that they are at the Naval Air Station in Barbers Point, Hawaii. Just let me know what you guys think in the comment below. Do you think I'm spot on, or do you think I'm stuck in left field? Unfortunately, there is a couple of pictures missing from this album, but I don't believe that anybody has ever looted this album. This came from the original family. Some of these pictures just look amazing. Pictures of planes you'd never get to see. One of these pictures is even an aerial view of the entire base. I'm not sure how tall this guy is, but we'll assume he's around 5'8". I'm going to say that's the average height back then, 5'5", 5'10". And that's a big tire. And here's a picture of the outside of the base. This was taken from the plane. I believe that's number 384. I'm not sure what's going on in this picture, but they are at some kind of a celebration. Everybody's drinking and having a party, and it's very cool to see what's on the old table. And I believe some of these are souvenir cards, but not all of them. This is somewhere in Paris, if I'm not mistaken, and these are just some pool pictures. I'm not sure where these are from, but I'm guessing we're in Paris, just before Mr. Bronson goes into the Korean War. And he might have even been shot down. And here's a really cool picture. This is somebody standing outside of the Ordnance Field Maintenance Board. And then just like that, we're in Japan. I assume this is a family that he was staying with, or I'm not sure how he came in contact with these people, but He was with them for a long time, and he appears to have made a little friend. Now, I could be wrong on this, but as I go through this album, it looks like this is occupied Japan in the area of 1946 to the 1950s. And then, I guess, just around the corner, in June of 1950, we started our Korean War conflict. Now, it looks like he's just sightseeing, walking around the town and looking at all the unique sights he can find, and it even looks like he found a special lady. I'm not sure what it says, but it does have a little note. Here's an interesting picture. We have some kids playing in the street. We have a piggyback ride, and them shoes. Those shoes are just, I couldn't imagine. They probably hurt your feet. And we have a few more local street views of the townspeople doing their normal thing. They're living their normal lives. And then we have an Allied Army base, or what I assume is an Allied Army base because there's some English on the board. And then we have another happy lady with 2 mysterious notes. We'll have to figure out what these say. I'll get back to you guys on another video on what this says. Most likely a YouTube short. And these 2 guys riding a bike's quite comical looking. As far as the picture goes, this is the last time they saw each other. And then just out of nowhere, the cold winter came and totally slowed everything down. Whether they knew it was going to snow or not, it appears that they were unprepared. At least it looks like it. And I'm assuming that this is when we started to go into the Korean War, because there's a lot of planes coming in by a little tiny boat. What looks like a little tiny trash boat. I say it's tiny, but it's probably half the size of a football field. And it even looks like we have an engineer on board. What an awesome looking page. Now I'm going to go in left field, and I'm going to guess and say that that's Mount Fuji in the background. And this is a really cool Navy band done by the guys in the group. Very unique, not something you get to see all the time, and it's a shame we can't read what the band name is. I'm sure they put on a pretty good concert for these 15 people. And then in the very back of the album, we have a few planes, the SK, number 2, I'm not sure what that one is, and we have a few planes, and this guy's standing on the propeller. I think that's super cool, to give you an idea of how big these planes are. And our final picture of our guy and his lady, the same one that was in Hawaii, but he's with a different lady. I'd like to thank you guys all for watching. This is an album from E.L. Bronson, a sailor, and this album has been lost to time for the last 60 years. A wonderful collection. If you're interested, you can own this. The link will be in the description. I thank you all for watching, and everything you see in this album will be available in store. I hope you have a great rest of your day.